Hello everybody, I'm here with Dr. Kimberly Howell.
Hello.
And we are going to sit and talk to each other about body image. Dr. Howell's work is around the body and our psychological relationship to our body. And primarily we're going to talk about her chapter, lovely book, Seeing in the Dark, Wisdom Works by Black Women in Depth Psychology. So welcome, Dr. Howell.
Thank you, Dr. Sharon. It's so great to be here.
So first off, how did you even start doing this work around the body?
It initially started for me. I have had issues all of my life. I speak to this in my chapter in Seeing in the Dark. And in my doctoral dissertation around having issues around body image growing up. And it wasn't until I was in my doctoral program in a course on cultural psychology when the issue of race came up. I thought, I don't really have an issue with race, I have an issue with my body and body image. And it wasn't until that moment that I started putting the puzzle pieces together, where race and the intersection of race, gender, body image, and all of that became just a platform for me to begin my work.
And because we are in Hollywood, I think that the title of your chapter, Revisioning Hollywood's Gods, the Pantheon of Celebrity, living out here, what are some of the experiences specific to Hollywood that you thought jumped out at you as far as body image?
Well, there is a place on every corner to change your body. There are places to suck in the fat, suck out the fat. There are places to adjust your skin tone, to adjust everything here. And I get it. Hollywood's a hotbed of entertainment. We're here in the epicenter of the industry. So sometimes that's a necessary evil. What I have researched is how that starts to bleed into our culture. The culture of Los Angeles, the culture of Southern California. And having, spent recently about 6 years in the Bay Area, being able to see the juxtaposition between Northern culture and Southern California culture, where there is just such a focus here on the body, regardless of your color and even, I dare say, gender or orientation.
In your work, you hear from many people, I'm sure. What are some of the things that you think, particularly Black women, what are some of the areas that we still have issues with, where we need maybe more healing, more education?
That's a great question. I think we are so known for being strong. There is the strength of the Black woman. You look at individuals like Serena Williams, who's so well known for her physical strength, but yet as Black women, we're not necessarily known for our professional strength. Yes, she's an amazing athlete, she's a strong body, but she's also a very shrewd and strong businesswoman. The same with Rihanna, so much focus on her exterior, and yet she's a mogul. Fenty beauty products, her lingerie that's inclusive.
Yes.
So all of these things I think are some of the biggest misnomers about African American women, is that our strength is a disadvantage, our physical strength. But I'm really starting to see a shift where we are playing to that strength in different ways.
Okay, interesting. Well, you mentioned Rihanna, so for those of you who don't know, Savage X Fenty is Rihanna's lingerie line. And I would say the majority of the ads that I see always feature women with fuller figures. So she's definitely not feeding into this, whatever this image is that, skinny is it or whatever. So she's been very inclusive. Her makeup, as far as the number of tones, the diversity of shade ranges, and her lingerie line is inclusive of different sizes. So
and different genders.
Yes,
her Fashion Week show featured transgendered models as well. So I think there is a shift in the power that I'm speaking about, watching her use this for a bigger platform. Yes, successful. I'm sure she's making plenty of money doing that.
Yes.
But really seeing her use this platform for power other than just her aesthetic.
Where have you seen maybe areas that we've grown? I mean, and you touch upon it with, the moguls who are being more inclusive, but individual sort of everyday women, where do you, any stories you hear where you're feeling encouraged, like we're healing in some way?
I think there's still lots of work to be done, but where I am seeing it is in the diversity and inclusion shifts within organizations. I'm seeing more women of color who are considered powerful, seeing more individuals who feel empowered. For example, I call this the Lizzo generation, where you have this incredible young artist who is being her authentic self and empowering other women of varying body sizes, but especially African American women to be comfortable in their body regardless. And one of the things that she recently said that was so powerful to me was, if you love me and you appreciate what I'm doing, you have to turn the mirror on yourself and appreciate yourself for who you are and what you are in this moment. And I think that's really, really critical for women and women of color. It's great to point to Rihanna and to point to Serena and to point to Lizzo and say, that's great, you're doing it, but we've got to do more of that work internally and for each other as peers. It's so important, and I think that's where there's a lot of work for us to do as individual Black women.
So what are some of the practices over the years that you've found have been helpful to heal these issues around body?
I think trying to tap into who I am and my authenticity. There's no one mold for every woman. There's no one mold for every woman of color. We have a tendency to stray from that at times, where natural hair is where it's at. If you don't have natural hair, then you're a sellout. Where now I think we're being more discerning. Someone like me who suffers from alopecia, where you never know what my hair is going to look like one day. It could be short one day, it could be natural one day, it could be down my back. Really owning who I am authentically and being willing to appreciate that in other women. To be able to say, if you feel authentic and confident and happy with the way that you're presenting yourself externally into the world, good for you. Let me support you in that. Don't let me drag you down. Don't let me say, come on now, you need some extensions. We need to stop that madness as Black women. If you're rocking it natural, good for you. If you're rocking somebody else's, good for you. So I would say that right there is something, as you can probably tell, I feel pretty strongly about.
Well, yeah, you always look fabulous, always.
You too.
The lippy.
You too. You're a lippy gal like me.
I love the lippy. Yes, gotta love it. So in your work, or whether it's personal or professional, I'm sure you come across, since these interviews are a series on books and beauty, I'm sure there's tons of literature that you have come across, have studied, have critiqued. What are some of the pieces of literature that you've come across that you think have changed the game, have changed your perspective, are good for others to read around this issue of our bodies?
One particular work that was so pivotal to me as I was starting my research was one by depth psychologist Marion Woodman, who I know you know well, yes. One of the pioneers in our field. And I had the good fortune before her passing to actually see her speak. And she talked a lot about the divine feminine. And so I think there are great works. Naomi Wolf's work is so critical and important, foundational. But looking at Woodman's work with depth psychology through that lens, I think, is so critical. One thing that she talks about is how we talk about femininity without really looking at it as something that's been dictated through patriarchy. So what we as women are putting ourselves through is an ideal that isn't set or standardized by women, but men. It's men who are saying, this is the object of my desire. It's tall and thin and blonde and white. And that's where we have the power to say, stop. That's a false narrative. That is not a definition of beauty. Where is this call for perfection? Because there is no drive for perfection in the feminine. The feminine is accepting, it is welcoming, it is loving, it's inclusive. And so when in her work, Addiction to Perfection, which I have and I love, it talks a lot about that. Where is this addiction to perfection coming from? And if the feminine addiction to perfection is coming from the masculine, is coming from patriarchy, it's coming to consciousness and really calling bullshit on it and saying, you don't get to dictate to me what's perfect, what's beautiful, what's successful. And I think when women come to that point, number one, it's more peaceful. It's what I love, and I dare step in it by saying this, in our current political climate. You're seeing more women. There is a call and a need for that feminine energy, a softness, an acceptance in this community, in this country, in this world. And we're starting to see those shifts. And that's why I think Woodman's work is so important to this day, is so incredibly pivotal to what we're trying to do with acceptance among women, acceptance as Black women.
So, if you're interested, Addiction to Perfection by Marion Woodman. It is published by, I want to say Inner Space, but I might be wrong, Inner City Books. I'm sure you can find it on Amazon or online, do a search. Your poem is fabulous.
Wonderful, thank you.
Yes. So this poem is Melancholic Acquaintances from Seeing in the Dark.
I too am prone to dark places. Secrets dim and so closely kept, they are unobservable to even the most divine eye. So distant, even God and Goddess find them infinitesimal. As the sun sets, my shadows fade, yet the moon brings her phantoms and casts its pall. A respite from the radiant sun. If friend or foe, I am unaware, but with me, I am certain.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Any last words, if you could speak to all women, particularly Black women, about this issue of our concept of our own beauty, our own bodies?
I would say it's being your authentic self, whether that is not Black enough, too Black, too feminine, too masculine, really crushing those standards because they're unreasonable and we can't hold everyone to the same standard. I just feel so strongly, so incredible strongly about the notion of being yourself. And sometimes that means figuring it out. I reinvent myself sometimes every week. I will try something new just until I get that fit that feels right for me, that feels comfortable for me. This is an individual process, and sometimes you just gotta stick your fingers in your ears and tune out the noise of patriarchy, of society, of friends, family, telling you what you need to be and who you are. You alone know that, And it's time for women, it's time for women of color to step fully and wholly into our power and who we are and support each other in that effort, whether it looks the same or not. We're all on our own separate beauty and body journeys.
And so, as you leave us, what are some of your favorite toys that you like to play with to change your look or change your energy?
Oh, well, for me, I never, ever, ever leave the house. I don't even walk the dogs without lipstick. I love the notion of what's in your bag and what's your standard right now. The quintessential MAC Ruby Woo.
Okay.
Don't leave home without it. But I have an amazing, I'm about to change your life here.
Uh-oh.
This new product is a Super Stay Matte Ink. It goes nowhere. It's Maybelline Super Stay Matte Ink.
Okay.
There's my shameless plug.
Okay.
But I'm gonna leave you with one more tip.
Okay.
It's a tippy for the lippy.
Tippy for the lippy.
Tippy for the lippy, and it is a perfect tip. And I actually have a couple of extras in my bag.
You are too funny.
So
She brings her own props. We love it.
these are not props. These are things I have to have in my purse at all times.
Necessities, not props. Okay.
These beauties here, pop it and perfect your lip.
Oh, I love it.
Never leave home without the perfect lippy. And now you.
Oh, thank you. Yes, because I like a lot of matte liquid lips too. And sometimes you make one wrong move, it's like, oh, ruined. So
Yep.
This is perfect.
That will fix them.
All right. And so where can people follow you, find you on social media?
That's the most important question of all. No,
Yes.
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
It's drkimhowell.com is my website, which will also lead you to my Twitter and Instagram, where I am pretty active. Everything from following body image to seeing the adventures of my poodles, Akeem and Simi. You can
They're cute. They're cute.
find it there. So really welcome you to come on over and check things out there. Really pleased with the work that I'm trying to push out there into the world to just help people feel more authentic and live the lives that they really want to lead.
And so this is still November, and hopefully I will get this up before November is over. And November is Buy from a Black Woman Awareness Month. So please, if you would like to read Dr. Howell's chapter on body in Seeing in the Dark, you can go to Amazon, just Google Seeing in the Dark, Wisdom Works by Black Women in Depth Psychology. And please go to her website. She gives seminars and coaching sessions, etc., and support this wonderful Black woman. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Sharon Johnson, so much. I really
I
appreciate
appreciate it too.
you and the work that you're putting out in the world.
Thank you so much. All right.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.